Planned on stopping in Belmont. The town wasn't marked boldly on any map, just a fading name on a green sign off Route 19. The kind you see too late to slow down unless, like me, you're not really trying to get anywhere. I was in the middle of a wandering year. Maybe middle isn't quite right. I didn't know where I was in it. All I knew was that everything familiar felt too heavy to carry. After Sarah left and the house became hollow, I sold it. Sold most of my things, actually. Packed what was left into the back of an aging Toyota and told myself I was free. It didn't feel like freedom, more like floating, quiet, untethered, aimless. Belmont appeared one afternoon like a whisper. I stopped for gas, then a coffee, then, because the place had a strange pull, a walk. It was a town of porches and wind chimes, of cracked sidewalks and wildflower gardens that seemed to bloom without permission. I'd planned to stay an hour. I stayed 3 weeks, and it started with her. The first time I saw her, she was crouched in front of a picket fence, talking to a dog with one blue eye and one brown. She wore a sundress with paint on the hem, and her hair, chestnut brown and full of sun, was pulled up in a knot that didn't care whether it stayed. She laughed, not at anything in particular, just the kind of laugh that spills out when joy sneaks up on you. I didn't mean to stare. She looked up. Our eyes met. Hers were the color of late afternoon sea glass, soft green, edged with something deeper. "You're not from here," she said, standing, wiping her hands on the back of her dress. I wasn't. She could tell. I must have looked lost or tired or maybe just like someone who wasn't sure how to be seen anymore. "No," I admitted. She smiled. Not the kind that asks you to impress her, just the kind that invites you to breathe easier. "I'm Eliza." "Daniel." She nodded, like that name fit into her day just fine. That was the first moment. I didn't know then what it would become. I only knew something inside me stirred for the first time in a long while. It started slowly. I rented the upstairs apartment of a crumbling house run by an elderly widow named Joyce, who smelled like peppermint and always had an opinion about the weather. Belmont wasn't big enough for anonymity, and soon enough, Eliza started showing up. Sometimes at the cafe where I wrote in my notebook and drank too much bad coffee. Sometimes at the library where she volunteered. Once at the farmer's market where she bought tomatoes and gave half to me because they taste better shared. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to realize she wasn't just appearing by chance. She was gentle in the way she spoke, in the way she gave people space to be who they were without asking them to explain it. That was new to me. Sarah had been intense, magnetic in her ambition. Loving her had been like trying to hold on to a firecracker. With Eliza, it was different. She listened more than she spoke. But when she did speak, it was always honest, unafraid of silence. And I was drawn to it. Not in the rushing way I'd known before, but in something quieter, more deliberate, like a tide pulling you in without drama, just persistence. Still, I held back. I was good at that. One night, she found me by the river. There was a small bench at the edge of the park, near where the willow trees dipped into the water. I liked it there. No expectations, no noise. She sat beside me without asking. "You always come here at sunset," she said. "I like the stillness." "I do too," she said, "but sometimes it's nice to have stillness with company." We watched the water together. She asked me finally what I was running from. I didn't answer at first. The truth was lodged in a place I didn't know how to reach. "I loved someone once," I said, "and I don't think I knew how to be loved back." I buried so much of myself trying to be enough for her. When it ended, I wasn't sure what part of me was left. She didn't try to fix it. She didn't say I'd be okay or that time heals or any of the things people say when they don't know what to say. Instead, she just said that must have hurt. And I think I fell a little in love with her then for the way you made space for pain without turning away. There was no grand confession between us, no sweeping kiss in the rain. It was a Tuesday when she first reached for my hand. We were walking back from the bookstore, her arms full of used novels that smelled like dust and coffee grounds. She was telling me about her favorite one, a story about a lighthouse keeper who kept writing letters to the sea. I remember her saying, "I think we all write letters to things that can't answer." Then she slipped her fingers into mine like it was the most natural thing in the world. It was. From then on, we existed in that delicate in-between space, more than friends, less than something named. I think we were both scared to define it, to risk breaking whatever it was by trying to hold it too tightly. She told me about her mother who had died when she was 20, and how grief had turned her into someone quieter, more observant. I used to want everything to be loud and certain, she said once, lying beside me in the grass. But now I think the most beautiful things are soft. And I thought of the way she touched me only when she meant it, the way she never flinched when I pulled away without realizing, the way she waited. God, she waited. A week before I was supposed to leave, I told her. We were in the garden behind the church, her favorite place, filled with lilacs and lemon balm. I hadn't meant to say it, but the words rose like a tide, inevitable and aching. I think I'm falling for you, I said. She looked at me, searching. But I'm not whole, I added. I'm still healing. I don't know who I am yet. She stepped closer, and for a moment I thought she would walk away. But she didn't. You don't have to be whole, she said. You just have to be here. She kissed me then, slow and certain, like she'd waited for the moment to become real. And it was. I stayed another month. I helped her paint the library's reading room. We made dinner together. Bad pasta, perfect grilled cheese. We read poems aloud under the stars. We didn't talk about forever. We talked about mornings, about how the light hit the windows of her kitchen just right, about how healing didn't mean erasing the pain in the past, just learning to carry it differently. We fought once, about nothing and everything. I panicked, thought I was ruining it. She waited, then she held my face and said, "It's okay to feel things. You don't have to run from them." I realized I'd spent most of my life doing just that, running. From conflict, from vulnerability, from love that asked me to stay. But this time, I stayed. When I finally left Belmont, it wasn't because I wanted to. It was because I had to. There were things I still needed to figure out, on my own. She understood. Some things take time, she said as she pressed a folded note into my hand. But not all goodbyes are endings. I opened the note that night in a motel room 2 towns away. It read, "I'll be here, in the color of lilacs, in the sound of wind chimes, in the stories we haven't finished telling yet. Find your way. I'll leave the light on." I read it 3 times, then I slept for the first time in weeks without dreaming of empty rooms. It's been 6 months. I still carry her in the quiet moments, in the morning light on my porch, in the smell of books, in the taste of tomato soup. I don't know what comes next, but I know what love feels like now. It doesn't always arrive in fireworks. Sometimes it walks in barefoot with paint on its dress and says your name like it already knows the story. I'll go back to Belmont someday. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but when I do, I hope she's still there, humming to herself, planting something new in the soil. And maybe, just maybe, I'll bring her a book of poems and we'll read it together in the garden. Because some love stories don't need a perfect ending. They just need a beginning you choose, over and over again.